one source that the Saudi crown prince was actually going to step down. So we don't know about that, but I don't know. It's really like a new level of brazenness. Let's say. So, like the and then I just saw, Trump is trying to draft an executive order to ban Central American migrants, and in Italy right now some flames are being whipped up because somebody was killed by an immigrant. A girl was killed by an immigrant, and they love to take those cases and make it about immigration instead of people being violent murderers.
Now, as a historian, has there ever been any presidents like Trump that you are close to it?
No.
No?
I mean, Andrew Jackson is said to be the most similar.
Now, this is leading into my question. Do you think that if Trump went another term, do you think that would be a bad idea for America? Do you think, let's just say, do you think it would mess up everything that America has, how should I say, I'm trying to see how to say this in the right way. Like, we're not the best of countries, so to speak, but, you know what I'm saying? Like, we kind of had a little bit of control. Do you think that'll all be lost?
Wow, okay, this was it. I was listening to an interview today with, from my friends Guy and Marie, with George Shultz, who served in the government for forever, and he was asked what he thought the role of the United States should be in the world, and he was talking about NATO, and the NATO was created by the generation that I've talked about before, the people that went through World War I and World War II and the Depression, just people that really had suffered a lot and had seen and really wanted to try and keep things safe. So I don't know. I mean, I was thinking about, because the problem with looking at with the question of have things ever been this bad is that depends who you're asking. I mean, I don't know. I mean, when I read about like the Jim Crow South, I just feel like, so far as the United States, there was like, look at the entire history of the United States, and there's like nothing that bad. So I do think about that when I hear that question. And I think the 30s were just a really terrifying time, and because of the economy, I mean, there was a lot of fear and anger and xenophobia. I mean, I feel like the 30s were a really scary time. I mean, even with FDR at the helm. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just very hesitant to start saying things are the worst or whatever, but I mean, the Khashoggi murder really just really showed me, I mean, how deep the Trumps are in with the Saudis, and that how Trump's son-in-law's buddies with the crown prince. And so it's weird. I just feel like these little like heirs are running our world, and that's scary. But so far as Trump being reelected, I think he will be reelected, unless if things continue as they are, because his people still like him and Democrats still are fighting. I mean,
that's crazy.
It is crazy. not all. That's not all it is. All it is at all. I mean, Um. So yeah, I mean, I'm really nervous about that. You know, I mean, it's like people. You know, I mean, anybody thinking Texas is going to get a blue senator is delusional. I watched another Cruz Beto debate, and you know, Cruz kicked his ass. There's an interesting governor's race in Florida. There's different different races around the country. Oh, okay, so I just saw that CNN was evacuated again, and a possible bomb was just sent to Senator Dianne Feinstein's office.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, okay, the son of a bitch is targeting. He's certainly going to target like women politicians. I mean, Biden and Obama are obvious targets, but of course, I mean.
Were these confirmed real bombs, or were these kind of like, okay?
Yeah, I am pretty sure. I'm not a bomb expert, but I'm pretty sure. They're pipe bombs packed with glass.
Wow.
Yeah.
And from what I also heard, I heard most of the homes that they went to, they didn't live in the like these were their like second homes. Like the mail, like it didn't actually really get to any of the people it was supposed to go to.
They got to. I mean.
That's what I was hearing.
I think they got to Obama's house.
Oh, so they did get to Obama's house. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that one person. I think I'm not sure who. Because I was told this earlier today that one person, his mail was actually a PO box, so they sent it to the actual, office, the mail office, and then I heard a couple other people like their whatchamacallit's got it. Their what do you call them? The people who clean the houses.
No, the housekeepers.
The housekeepers got it.
Yeah.
I heard one place it was at a house, but it was that whoever that person was, it was their second house. It wasn't even.
Well, the Obamas. No, I mean it was sent to the Obamas' house in Washington D.C.
Okay.
And it was sent to Biden's home. I mean, the Bidens don't have two homes. I mean, the Clintons do. I'm pretty sure, but. I don't know where the bomb. And then with some of the other ones, it was sent to their office. So maybe that makes them feel a little safer. But it's scary, and it's scary because it's always. I mean, the problem is it usually gets the people in the front office are the ones that die first. Like the person. That's what's so unfair. It's the person. I mean, it's not fair anyway. But like the person that opens the mail and all that.
Right.
So
that's why I'd be wondering when they do that. I mean, you really think, most of these people who are like this, who are famous, they I know they have their suspicions. You know what I'm saying? So where they want to open their own mail straight out. I mean, I'd be spooked a little bit.
Well, no, it's not even just that they have suspicions. I mean, they're busy.
Yeah, and that too.
I mean, that's
But I just can't see too many stars or people. You know what I'm saying? Opening their own mail. I mean, they don't
have time. I mean, Hillary Clinton isn't sitting, or Barack Obama isn't sitting there opening their mail.
Right.
A lot of these people don't even read their. I mean, I think people like that they're gonna have like secret, like probably some emails, like just like emails for like real personal friends and family and stuff. But most of these guys, they don't even pick up their own email. They just have way too much stuff coming in.
Right.
So yeah, but I don't know. So as far as things as weather times are bad, I mean, I don't know. I mean the 30s and the Depression, I mean, that was really scary. I mean, with all the Jim Crow violence going along with the Depression. So I feel like the 30s was a pretty bad time for everyone. But yeah, he's going to be reelected. unless the Dems get their shit together.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I was, there's God, I'm starting to look at some of the California initiatives and all that. Since I have friends that are new voters, I'll be helping them out with it too. Anyway, that's very exciting. I visited the Vallejo NAACP this past weekend because I wanted to talk with them. Yeah, I wanted to talk with them about doing a family screening of that film, of the documentary, like sponsored by the NAACP in the afternoon, so people can bring their, I want to have a youth screening and like make it a family screening, so people can bring their kids and bring their grandkids and stuff and do that in the afternoon. So with Robin Washington, who's gonna be here. So yeah, so that was cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so I just have that's my main thing that I'm working on right now. So okay, so going through. Okay, so what was I just?
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Well, Saudi Arabia. I don't know. It's just really complicated. I mean, the U.S. has always. Had a close relationship with Saudi Arabia, which is just so hypocritical. I mean, it's all just about the money and the oil and all of that, and that's why. And as we're more and more alienated from Europe, and that's great, man. Here we are with Trump's friends, the Prince and Putin. God, what a great bunch!
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it.
Yeah. Me neither. But I mean, I do. I think a lot of people have been able to just be really complacent about freedom. A lot of people take freedom for granted and take safety for granted, and take it for granted that they'll be able to exercise their rights.
Right.
And that's how this happened. I think, it was the people that didn't vote. It said that the non-voters were the people that elected Trump. That's part of it. So many people that should have voted didn't vote.
I get what you mean. So you're saying so many people that should have voted.
Yeah.
But would it have really mattered, considering that it was the electoral votes that really did it?
Yeah, it would have mattered, because the electoral votes are still numbers, Roselle. I mean, you need to, if enough people had, if more people had voted for Hillary in the states, she would have had more electoral votes. I mean, the electoral votes do have to do with numbers. It'll have to do with like how many people come out and vote in that area, and that will tip it to one candidate or the other. So if we can get fucking good candidates that can get out there and connect with people instead of blaming others for everything. So. But yeah, I mean, it's those non-voters. I was talking with, a young person at the voter registration, sort of encouraging her to vote. But I was thinking, because she said, "Well, can I vote Trump out? I don't like him." And I said, "Well, you can in 2 years, you can. But in the meantime, you can do this." She's like, "Okay." But I was like, "Okay." She was the one where I just said, "Okay, well, I appreciate you listening to me," but I was thinking like, okay, well, maybe if enough people if her in 2 more years get out to vote, we can do something, but...
I personally think there's going to be a lot of people voting this time around. I know people don't think it, but I think they will.
I hope you're right.
Because I really can't see him for another. I just can't see him for another term. I just can't see it. Me personally, I just can't see it, dude. If he gets voted back in as a president, dude, I just can't see it.
I can. I mean, he's people are happy. That's the problem. I mean, people. This is really fucked up. But a friend of mine was telling me that, she ran into somebody like that was saying a bunch of racist stuff. Who said like, "Yeah, I can say this now." There's people like that. They're saying like, "Oh yeah, I've always thought that, but now that we have this president, I can do this." I mean, and unfortunately, I mean, there's people that I just watch interviews with people that think he's doing a great job. People say, like, "Yeah, our country's strong again," whatever the fuck that means. I mean, I agree. Again, like people would like strangle me for this, but I agree with the U.S. like not cutting aid money in some situations, because then it gives the U.S. less power.
Right.
I mean, you can't if you give. And that's a way I would like to see. That's a good way for the U.S. to be isolated. Less bossing around everybody in the developing world. And if they give less money, then
yeah, I don't know, man. I still don't understand the logic of how people will be like, Trump is making it better. The logic is just, it kills me with the logic.
Well, it'll come down to how a lot of people feel about the tax cuts.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say. And healthcare. I mean, because there's people, again, I mean, it's just people have very strong feelings about it. And healthcare is a big motivator for Democrats to come out and, because they like Obamacare. But then there's people that don't like Obamacare.
Right.
And so, unfortunately, there's people that are really happy that Brett Kavanaugh was confirmed.
Yeah, that one to me is kind of a weird one for me anyway. I'm still into my whole thing on stuff like that is, like you said, something happened a long time ago. It's kind of iffy, and I'm kind of more on the real proof that it actually happened, not because, well, we seen him get drunk during a party type. I think we've gotten away from proof a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
Real proof.
Well, you can't have real proof in a case like that.
Yeah, but to me, it's kind of like that makes it not fair in a weird sense, because technically anybody can say anything. It's kind of like this. Let's just put it in this situation. Me and you turn off the cameras right now. This is hypothetical. Let's say we weren't on here. Let's just say that we left and you just said, "Oh, Roselle raped me."
Yeah.
Let's just say I didn't even do anything. We do like we normally do. I walk you out.
Yeah.
You go home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then it just, well, Roselle, she was at your house. I mean, how, you know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about it. It's like a weird feeling, like anybody can just nowadays say something and there's really no proof to it, so no one can really, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of more like if people don't like you, you're guilty.
Yeah.
On that end. And that's the part I don't like about it.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand. I can understand that there were witnesses that were supposed to be called that would have corroborated more of what she said.
Right.
I mean, but yeah, I mean, my problem with it is that I don't think what people did when they were 17 should condemn them for the rest of their life. That is the problem I have with it.
But that's if he did exactly what she said he did. Now, he might have been not the best of kid at 17. I will say that, but we don't know necessarily if he was doing.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind from how she described it.
Why? What makes you believe
because
it?
There's ways that you remember things really vividly when in a traumatic situation. I knew exactly when she was talking about, like, she had like certain precise memories of what happened, and that's what that's something that happens with people when they've been attacked.
But how can you actually know that her memory is right? You see what I'm saying? Like,
well,
what if something's wrong with her? What if she just did? What if he turned her down when she was 17, and she just never got over it? Now this is her chance.
That's what was supposed to be. That's what people were supposed to decide after listening to her for a day and listening to him for a day. I mean, that should. I mean, I hope that you could look at what they're saying, because we can always what if and what if and what if. But yeah, she was talking about the vividness of certain memories, and that's true. That is, I know exactly what she can talk about. I mean, there's things I remember, just certain things in a different way, and that's sort of the way the mind works in a traumatic situation. The thing is, I wouldn't have gone that route. I would have contacted him first through a lawyer and asked if he would apologize. But I mean, I wouldn't do it. I would not go back and pick up and connect or do anything about my life 35 years ago, because I felt like if anybody that hurt me, they were violent people and continued on that path, in which case somebody could say so as an adult, or they got better, or they so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have done it. I don't feel, I mean, I had an open mind until Kavanaugh's hearing, because he was so angry and out of control in his speech. That makes me think that's what made me think he's not.
Oh, okay. See, that's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear something more of what the feeling besides what someone is just saying about the person. But now that you said that, see, that makes a difference. Like, if he seemed angry and agitated, I can understand. That shows a little sign of guilt. That makes a difference. Yeah,
and then it shows he was angry. He was really angry. He was disrespectful. So yeah, that's what his response to it. I mean, Clarence Thomas wasn't. You didn't leave. I didn't now. I mean, I didn't. Looking at it, I didn't look at what he said and think this person is unfit for a position. I mean, he conducted himself appropriately. I mean, he was mad, but he wasn't what's his face? Hey, Cindy. Kavanaugh. Hey, Max. Kavanaugh did not. And so, yeah, that's why. I don't think people should lose a job because of what they did when they were teenagers. I felt that way because I feel that he is incompetent because of his anger and disrespect. Judges aren't supposed to act that way. So that's what was upsetting to me about it. I mean, yeah, I was totally ready. I mean, I was totally ready to give the guy, a fair give the guy a chance, or because I mean, he should have a fair hearing, and it's just, I was wishing almost, or just thinking okay, why can't, if he did something. I think part of it, I think a lot of guys like him beat up hookers.
It's funny how you said
that. I know.
Well, yeah, you might be right. I don't know.
That is because that's just a big thing with, sometimes when a prominent guy will get accused of something, a lot of prominent women will come out and defend them, and that was the case. That was a case, whatever, when one of the latest newscasters got in trouble for sexual harassment. A bunch of people that defended him were women that worked in his industry, who also had a lot of money, and So you look at somebody like that and you think like, okay, how is he going to be treating people that don't have. A lot of people are just a lot of women are really vulnerable. I mean, yeah. So I think I'd be willing to bet. I don't know. I think somebody like Kavanaugh would be, because I would just hope like why can't more people come forward that he knew or that from adulthood, and so I don't know. That's what I mean, but yeah, people are happy about it because it was. I mean, conservatives were willing to make a trade-off about Trump's behavior because they really care about, because they're really concerned about the Supreme Court. So I don't know. I mean, Jesus, the likelihood of another justice dying in 2 years, it's not too far. It's not too far-fetched.
Right.
But I feel like we need to not be chicken shits about it. And so there's something called precedent, which means when a law has been made, you can't just go overturn it. The idea of laws and the legal system is that it builds on each other. So when a legal case sets a precedent, and then what happens after that is kind of determined by that. So when you start worrying about Roe v. Wade, the reproductive freedom being overturned, what people will say is it's established. A lot of people that want to have it both ways. Like there's, Democrats that don't want to seem too liberal and Republicans that don't want to seem too conservative will say that it's precedent, that Roe v. Wade is established precedent, and that a conservative court isn't going to overturn it because they don't like to overturn things. They like to keep things like they are. And so when conservatives talk about activist judges, they're talking about judges that try and put in their own ideas, their own politics into the law. So that could be, and I still think that could keep reproductive freedom safe because a majority of the country still does support reproductive freedom. So the conservatives can let themselves off the hook by saying, oh, it's precedent, so we're not going to touch it because we're conservative and we don't like to overturn precedent. So that is really what we're going to hope for, I suppose, with the with Roe v. Wade. And I feel like we need to take it to the states. Like we should be ready to fight these battles. I think if you think you're right, then don't be afraid to fight. Don't be afraid to stand up for stuff. And so take it to court,
Right, take it to court.
Yeah, I'm not scared. I mean, I think about stuff. I mean, about laws that I think are right being overturned. I mean, I think the justice system is ours too, and we can have an impact on it. I mean, particularly if people act smart instead of cowardly. So
True.
very, very true. So, okay, you're going to love this one. South Africa has just removed the tax on feminine products. I say that. I knew you'd be right. Yeah, I knew you'd be fascinated by this. But it's actually an important issue because there are women in developing parts of the world that are women and girls that are prevented from going to school and work because of their periods and because they don't have or can't afford like period supplies. And so it's really pretty has a big impact on the world. It really does. So that's important. And it's there's still countries where where women like need to go to huts, whatever, when they're having their periods. And so there's cases of women being killed and sexually assaulted if they're in these huts, like away from their families. So, yeah, it's a problem. It's a serious problem when girls like miss school because they have their periods, and that shouldn't be happening. So, okay, so that is South Africa, and that is what's happening in South Africa, along with white farmers not being turned out of their farms despite what Trump is saying. That is not happening. So that's South Africa. And okay, so what else are we going to be? We're trying to follow Syria with and okay, well nothing has really changed in Yemen other than it being fucked. So yeah, still fucked. We'll be looking at that. There's we're following some of the some of the Palestine issues. We follow those. There's I don't really have anything to say about that today, but that is one of the things we do. And okay, so 2 weeks from now, we'll be back. We're on Thursdays now. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that'll work. We can do that.
Works? Okay. Either one is fine. Either one is fine with me. But now we're like on a roll. Now we're like nice and consistent. The past month, it's been a crazy month. I've seemed like a little scattered. I moved. And then I
will say this before we continue on the schedule. We might only do it one time in November and December.
Okay.
Because I want to shorten it a little bit because of the holidays. I'm going to get days off, so I want to...
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I want to take my days off.
Yeah, take your days off.
I know on Thanksgiving, I think it's Thursday and Friday. So.
Yeah, no, take your days off. Oh, yeah, I know, I was looking at that, but yeah, however... All you need to do is say day off, and I'm with you.
Yeah. She's always with me. I just wanted to put that out there now so everybody else knows.
Yeah.
So, we might do it in November and December. Maybe just do one show or one or two shows
or do it on a Tuesday.
Or do it on a Tuesday. We'll see.
However, yeah, we'll see. But that's what will be going on with us. I'm trying to read about Asia. I'm reading about it to, move on. I just don't. It's hard to know where to start sometimes.
Right.
And I don't know. I think. Well, we're following our friends in Malaysia. And okay. Not a great news night. Okay, I mean, the United Nations just reported that the genocide against the Rohingya is continuing in Myanmar. So the international community would really benefit from doing something about that. They aren't. And okay, so this. I've always spent a lot of time with kids, but I haven't in a while, and so I had a young woman staying with me with her kids this past week, and so that was very interesting. It was a 4-year-old and a 10-year-old, but I forgot how loud 4-year-olds are. I just moved into a new apartment, so my cats were kind of freaking out about that, but then there were children there too, and they really were. My one cat went and hid under the house for 2 days. Yeah, she'd come in the middle of the night, and I was like, "Oh, come on!" And then I decided she was just also being really stubborn. I was like, "Oh, come on, you can't be that scared." And then the other cat would, I'd be reading to the little girl, and he would like crawl onto my lap and bite me.
Oh, wow.
Jealous. Cats get jealous, which I like. So, yeah, they fight over me. It's really funny. You know, one cat will like crawl onto my lap, and then I'll look over and I'll see the other one like glaring.
Wow.
Yeah, the big sister one. So yeah, she's the boss of everything.
Is that the one that was sitting up on top of the thing?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there was the white one that was like wandering around.
Then the other one just ran outside like it just
Yes.
had no part in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have 3 total.
3. Yeah. Yeah. Another reason I was just so relieved to get my new place. It's hard. And then the past couple places I've lived at, you had to pay. Okay, apartments charge you rent for your animals. Sucks. So this was like another reason I'm relieved to move into my house. I can stop paying fucking pet rent. I mean, the woman above me didn't even like. I don't know. I mean, I was only paying for 1 cat, and I actually had 3, so I felt guilty enough. I mean, I just always have this fear of like, the woman above me didn't even. They didn't even know she had cats, but I don't know. I was always afraid of being caught. So yeah. So we're settling in. A lot more wild cats around where we are. My cats don't have as much space to roam around as they used to, so they're getting used to that. But I'm like, look, okay, you bitches have a cat door. You can go in and out, okay? Just for you.
All right.
All right, everybody.
End it. This is Anna's Historical Book Club
Book Club.
on
Thank you.
RadioForTheWorld.com.
Yeah, thank you, Maurice. Thank you, everybody that listened. Always.
Nice.
Okay, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Oh, yes.
Bye.
Bye.